to the Your Company Health podcast. We're excited for you to join us today. Again, my name is Andre Wright and my co-host,
Anne Marie Chilio.
And I'm just beaming. I'm excited for this episode today. We're going live on YouTube for the first time, and let's see how it goes. I'm excited.
Yeah, we'll just try. That's all we do. No editing. It's just going to be free-ranging, and we're actually going to do it a little different today, maybe in honor of our first live broadcast.
Yeah.
We're going to try and have just a nice conversation. So normally the format is we ask a lot of questions that are pretty specific to people's businesses. Today, what I thought we would do, since Andre has just published this book, Vsibility, on digital marketing secrets and growing your business, we're not going to talk about the book per se, but I thought it might be a good idea to really dive into what digital marketing is, because people have an idea, I think, but they don't really understand the complexity of it or the value in it. And this is a good opportunity to do that, to just answer questions that I know I have about it, because it's one of those things that's constantly evolving. For me, it's a moving target. I don't even want to spend that much time on it, but it's very, 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 very important these days. But I think the one thing from our format that I'd like to keep is, Andre, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, of course.
Obviously, you're from much further south than here.
So it's amazing. I'm always asking people to talk about themselves and when they come on the show. But I'm excited to talk a little bit about me. So I was born in Jamaica. I stayed out there for a period of time before I moved over here in Arizona. That's when I started, got into digital marketing. I worked for this company it was a Google outsource company called.
Hang on. No, you're married, right? You have a wonderful wife.
Yes.
Yeah. How many kids do you have?
3.
3 kids.
3.
You're busy.
I'm super busy.
Yeah, super busy. Yeah.
So 3 beautiful kids and a beautiful wife.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
yes, we got the opportunity to move to the U.S., which we jumped head on to, and moved to Arizona.
Did you do that for work, or was it your work or hers?
Well, it actually, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, right? So my wife, she's been in the hotel business for years. So she was managing a hotel in the Caribbean, and we got an opportunity to transfer to Arizona.
See, I didn't know that. Okay.
There you go. So at that point, I was mingling with management and sales, but I always wanted to get into digital marketing and started my own business. So the opportunity came up to move to the U.S., first world country, and more opportunity for the family. So we decided to just move to the U.S. because my thing was that I'm gonna get deeper in digital marketing and then start my own business and then move from there.
So you moved to Phoenix for her job.
Basically, right? Exactly. Yeah. You made a decision as a family.
While you were there, didn't you work for Google or somebody like that?
Exactly. That's what I was mentioning. So moving to Arizona, that's when I got involved with Google. Digital marketing.
How long ago was that?
That was early 2000. It was in the early 2000s.
So you've had your feet in the water for a long time. Okay.
Yeah, that was a long time, early 2000s. Yeah. And
you should write a book just about how much it's changed since then. Good Lord.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, and as you mentioned, and in your starting the podcast, I mean, the digital marketing is so dynamic. Things change so much.
Yeah, they do.
So it's so important for you to keep abreast of what's happening. So
how did you end up in Atlanta then? So you were there in Phoenix with your wife. You both were working. You were working in Google, with Google, or at Google, and now you're here. So how did that happen?
So what happened, I worked there for a period of time, I managed a set of digital. So what my job there was to work directly with Google AdWords. Work with small and medium business to
Oh,
promote their businesses online. So that's
okay.
where I got fascinated with the whole digital
So,
marketing. I have to dig deeper in this space.
question: were you there when they started doing Google Ads? Like, were you there at the
Yeah,
beginning of it?
exactly. It was like at the beginning stages. So there were
Yeah.
products like Google Tags. I don't know if you've heard about that. There's a little promotion on the map at that point, and
Huh.
there were and initially it was called Google AdWords, but now it's Google Ads.
Yeah.
You should know that, right?
Right. Right.
So
I
there
remember
have
that.
been a lot of changes over the time just to fine tune, what they're doing, and obviously it's Google. They want their product to be, uh, you know, top notch, and they're moving based on how the market is moving. So I
Yeah.
manage a group of Google AdWords specialists for a period of time, and then in 2015, again, my wife. They always say happy wife, happy life.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So she got a better job.
well, actually, it's a combination of things. So, me working there, and as I mentioned earlier, I wanted to start my own business. The job was good. I was comfortable and everything, but it was an opportunity for me to do something else or to try and launch out in what I really want to do and own my own thing. So she got another opportunity here in Atlanta, right,
Mhm.
to come down here and
Yeah.
and again to manage another hotel.
Yeah.
While it was closer to Jamaica, so distance played a huge part. It was
Oh,
like
yeah.
6.5 hours from Phoenix to
Right.
Jamaica.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Exactly. So I mean, we always wanted to move to the East Coast so we can go back and forth to the Caribbean. But
Mhm.
being in Arizona, as I mentioned, it's like six and a
Yeah,
half.
that's a little more challenging. That's like flying from here to Europe. I mean,
Exactly,
6 hours
exactly.
in one flight.
So with her getting that awesome job, promotion to move down here, and I'm thinking, it's an opportunity to get closer to the Caribbean. I
Mhm.
can start my own business, and
Mhm.
because I've done this for a period long enough to know what clients are looking for and have the strategies to help them to grow their business. Because I was actually doing that in
Yeah.
uh, in
So
Arizona.
when you were working with Google AdWords, were those small businesses that you were dealing with, or large businesses, or
It's
what?
a mix.
A
It's
mix.
a mix because
Okay.
so we would get like a list of companies that would be out there online, and we saw there's an opportunity that they could use Google AdWords. So we
Mhm.
would call on them and then set them up, give them like free trials and stuff of that nature,
Mhm.
and help them to get in Google AdWords, and then manage the campaigns for them and show them how they can actually make their business profitable out
Right.
of Google AdWords. So that's when I really got into digital marketing there in Arizona and got to love the industry and by just working with these companies and seeing amazing results. I'm like,
Mhm.
I that's something that I could build for my own, and I know I could take on and expand
Right.
and help out my clients.
Right. So now I think it's a good point to sort of transition into what that was way back when it started.
Yeah.
I remember AdWords, and everybody was all excited, and some people were getting awesome results from that. But now we have something called digital marketing. It's no longer that used to be digital marketing. It was Google AdWords, right?
Basically, that was
Now,
it. That was
right now we have digital marketing, and it's this whole universe of things. So why don't you talk a little bit about what it actually is now? Like,
well.
what is
So
digital marketing?
So digital marketing is basically advertising online, right? And as you mentioned earlier, Anne Marie, in earlier days it was limited. We never had Snapchat, we never had Facebook, we never had TikTok. All these other platforms that are popping up. Even now, you can advertise on Amazon, right? So
Right.
so there's so many platforms to advertise and to promote your business. That's why the digital marketing industry is so big and so
Mhm.
important at this point, because if you're running a business and you don't have an online strategy, you're wasting your time. and you will lose to the competitor because everyone is going online. I always quote this stat that 90% of buyers, they go online first. So as a business owner without an effective online presence, you're dead, right?
Yeah.
When you touch on digital marketing, it's pretty wide. It's pretty wide, and it's not just confined to Google AdWords as we know it as in the past, or SEO, right? But social media ads, right? You have to be doing that. You have to sorry, in essence, you have to employ a more multifaceted approach in digital marketing, not just narrowed to one thing. And the key thing is, you have to marry that great strategy with your objectives and what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I was thinking about this earlier today. I remember, it's a little bit off topic, but I remember going to a presentation years ago when one of my daughters was in high school, and it was an ex-FBI guy came and talked to us. It was a PTA thing, like talking about your kids and the internet and safety. And he used a great analogy. He said, you wouldn't drive your kid to a city and then open the car door and say, go out, have a good time. I'll pick you up in 2 hours, right? You want to give them, of course you wouldn't do that, but if you had to,
Right.
you want to give them a map and some directions and some protection and some, instructions. I think it's kind of a funny, or maybe it doesn't work, but I'm thinking of social media and advertising, digital marketing as the same kind of universe. There's this huge universe of stuff out there. And here you are, you're a product or a service or a company, and you want to find prospects and clients, and you have to give them the same kind of map, the same kind of direction on how to find you, and once they find you, what to do. So you have to have all the streets that you want them to travel down in that universe or that city of stuff out there so that they can locate you. And I think that's kind of what you're doing when you do a Facebook ad, an Instagram, a Pinterest, doing some email marketing and all those things. You're trying to go out and touch these people and attract them to get the attention, so that get their attention, and then send them to your place, to your business.
Right. And so that's why strategy is so important with digital marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's not one size fits.
Yeah. Can't do one thing.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
But that's the beauty of it, I think, too, because you can do digital marketing. You can get a report right away. Did this work? Did this not work? And if it didn't, you can quickly change it. I mean, back in the day, if you were just doing paper, you need lead time to make a change in an ad.
Exactly.
A newspaper ad, a magazine, that was even worse. You need a month.
Yeah. So in essence, digital marketing makes your marketing more efficient in that sense.
But quick. Like you can pivot, you can change markets immediately if you want to.
No, you're right. And that's why I say this all the time in presentations or when I speak. The effectiveness of any digital marketing is how you optimize. It's how you fine tune the data. Because one of the our philosophy, and if you go to our website, therightconsult.com, that we talk about all the time, be there, be visible, then convert.
Yeah.
Be there means that as a business owner, you have to be on.
You have to be in that universe. Yeah. Right? But you can't just exist in that universe. You've got to be in control, right?
You got to be in control. And it's one thing to be there, but you have to be visible. And that's where the strategy comes in play. Mm-hmm. That's where we fine tune the data. We look at the funnel. We see what's happening. When someone clicks on your site, what they're doing.
Yeah. So talk about the other way I think about it is I want to have as many fishing poles in the water as possible, so I can catch not just one. Well, say I'm trying to catch one big fish. I'd put a bunch of poles out there to try and catch one big fish. Or maybe I have a product or service where I can catch 2 or 3 different fish. So I really need them out there to attract people. So what are some of the things people can do to digital market their business or their products or their service?
First things first. You need an effective website.
Right.
You need an effective website.
Right.
Your
That's
website,
the anchor, right?
yeah,
That's
that's
the anchor.
accurate. That's you when you're sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
That's you when you're sleeping, right? You want when, because I mean we can employ all the strategies all day and do the right things all day. If someone is going to a bad website, it's meaningless. You know, I tell people all the time, digital marketing, it's like having a beautiful attire in the closet. If you don't wear it, wear it well. I mean, it's meaningless, right? So make that website. You know, you can always, if you don't want to pay for, say, a website with all the bells and whistles, you can go to one of those drag and drop websites, or just to have something, just to have, so people can show up on your site. But obviously, I would recommend you want to make the best site, because people typically form their impression of you in under 5 seconds, right? So if they land, if they're searching for products in your arena, they land on your site, but you better have what they're looking for, or be attracted to them. So first and foremost, have an effective website, right? And ensure that this website is well laid out with the right content, because you can get them to the website and then we they bounce, right? You know, they don't stay on it. They just,
right. How much time do you have? How much time once they land on your website? Don't you have only 4 seconds?
Yeah, it's actually 3 seconds.
3 seconds, yeah.
It's actually 3 seconds.
Mississippi 1, Mississippi 2, Mississippi 3, done. That's not long.
It's not long. So you have to captivate that audience.
Yeah.
You have to put together the right imagery, the right, the colors. Everything has to be top notch. If someone is searching for shoes, is searching for shoes, when they don't want to land on your site and see cars.
Yeah, well, right. Or socks, even if it's related. Right. First thing they want to see are shoes, right?
They want to see shoes, and there are so many options out there. If you don't have what they want, bam, I'm going to try the next thing, right? That's why we, and even for our clients, our strategy with Google AdWords, we want them to come up in the top searches, so that when someone searches for, say, pain doctor in Atlanta, they're falling in the top 3, or so. The first patients that are looking, they typically click on the first thing that they see, and we know that based on stats, and that's how we can drag them in that net and then walk them through the conversion process.
Yeah. So you have a website,
right?
And then what?
You have a website.
Digital marketing.
You have a website, and the social media channels, they're free. Go sign up a Facebook business page. Instagram page, just set it up. As I mentioned, be there. As you mentioned before, cast.net. If you, and one thing I tell customers all the time, you want to cast.net wide, because you don't want to cast.net too narrow and then you miss that big whale because you're too narrow. It's better you cast it wide, and then you narrow your focus based on optimization, based on the data, based on what you're seeing, and so that you can corner your profitable clients and get them to buy your products and services. So your website, get on those social media channels and start a blog. That's easy. Start a blog and start email your prospects
and hang it on your website.
Right. Add the option on the website. So, when they land up your website, you can maybe, give away something free, or for them to opt into your blog. And then because you can send them valuable information. When you're sending out these emails, ensure that you're sending out valuable information, because that's what people want to see. Okay,
that's digital marketing. So we've got emails, we've got the website, we've got a blog that we're going to write, we've got
social media platforms.
Social media. Now that's an animal all by itself,
right?
And that's the one I think that's shifting so rapidly. It's hard to, Facebook has 2 billion people on it now. Yep. You can't dismiss Facebook, whether you like it or not. You can't dismiss its reach, right? We've got Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Instagram, Snapchat. TikTok. I mean, what are the kids using now? You can't even keep up with it.
Yeah.
And then there's things that die off. Like, remember MySpace? That didn't last very long,
MySpace,
right?
yes.
Yeah. So it's a lot to keep up with, but those are really effective, aren't they? Like those little whatever works for your product can be extremely effective.
They are effective, and that's why when we bring in a client, right, we assess, their goals and their target market. What are they looking to do, and then we fine tune. If they're looking to to reach young adults or teenagers with their product, then we got to zoom into a Facebook strategy, a TikTok strategy, a Snapchat. We got to do things like that because that's where the kids are.
Right. The markets, they have their own defined markets. Some of them are a little more fluid than others. But yeah, I think Snapchat's still teenagers, right?
Yeah, still teenagers. But it's effective. But if it depends on the product that you're selling, you want to get before teenagers, that will work. If your product is targeting just say B2B or CEOs or executives, you want to play hard on LinkedIn all day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You have to know which one is which.
So it's funny you mentioned those platforms, but typically you cast that net wide, but your objectives will define what platform you play the hardest or you promote more to get your profitable clients.
Right. So it's not just use them all.
Right.
Like, don't spray it out there to see what sticks. You have to be a little more selective about it. Right. Yeah. So that's important. If you're going to do any marketing, you got to know what your target is. I mean, that takes a minute, right? You got to figure that out. Very clear about that.
And Anne Marie, over my career, I've seen by auditing campaigns, I've seen business owners waste so much money because of poor targeting.
Right.
Poor targeting. They'll just set up their campaigns and you know what? Let's see what happened. I can run this myself. And then they're in Atlanta and they're
I did that in the beginning. Yeah. I did. I didn't know.
It's just like AdWords. I've seen clients, they're in Atlanta and their settings in the interface is targeting the entire US.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, what you're doing there, you're entering a more competitive market where you're competing against a national brand when you just need to zoom in on your local area where you actually would
that's a good distinction to make. I mean, you can target your social marketing or your digital marketing very specifically geographically, right? I mean, that's one of the beauties of it.
That's one of the beauties.
Really peel it down to one person,
Exactly. You can target by,
which is scary, by the way, but
it is scary. But as for a marketer, is effective and it's good for the client. You can target by demographic, from topics and interests, and
purchases, recent purchases. Yeah, I know. I looked at some of that stuff.
So one of our best strategies to drive conversions is remarketing campainons. But there's little.
That's the scariest one.
It is scary, and I think Google came out some months ago and saying they're going to stop, use cookies for certain.
Right. They got after the trouble they had in Europe. Yeah.
Right, the trouble that they have, but they haven't finalized what they're doing. But I'm telling you, remarketing is.
I know what they're doing. They're doing AI. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. But from our end, remarketing is so good because remarketing clients are we call them double qualified clients. They've been on your site already. They know what you're all about, and they're coming back. They're warm leads.
Well, that's always the best client is one that you can resell because you don't have to spend any more money on marketing. They're already in. They already understand you. You don't have to educate them. I mean, that's part of marketing, digital marketing as well, right? You have to create a brand for yourself. You have to explain who you are. But even before they get to your website, they have to have some idea based on the ad you come up with and wherever you place it, that you're appropriate. You're the one that they should come to. So yeah, that's
and it's digital market. It's science. It's science.
Yeah.
As you mentioned before, and that's why it's important that you work with a professional. You work with someone who has been there already, and someone who knows the strategy. Because from day one, your creatives, they have to be on point. Your content on your website, that has to be on point right throughout the funnel. Until we get this customer to buy, you have to be on point. Because as we mentioned in the outset, the attention span is so limited. So you have to be strategic in anything that you're doing, so that the right client sticks with you and goes through the process and buy your product.
Yeah, I think it's official now. Goldfish have longer attention spans than we do. Sure, I've seen the study. It's true.
Yeah. It's all about no. I have no time to wait.
No time to waste. I can push a button and be somewhere else. Exactly.
Yep.
So it makes it really important. And then I think that consistency amongst all the strategies that you're using, they all have to say the same thing and point in the same direction. And because it's changing so rapidly, I mean, I don't want to keep up with that. I have other work to do, It's like I would love to have somebody take over that stuff for me. The one thing I wanted to ask you about is looking through the book, there's this something called Over the Top, which is kind of unique. I mean, it's interesting. It's coming, right? It's not really a mainstream thing. But why don't you talk about that a little bit? That's a whole nother world of digital marketing.
Yeah, it's pretty unique. It's OTT, over the top advertising. It's really a mixture with streaming. It's a mixture with streaming and promoting your business.
So this is streaming for people who don't get that. This is streaming what we're doing right now, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's streaming, but you can stream through various platforms like a Disney Plus or YouTube.
Yeah, that's intriguing. That like they give you a channel. How does that work?
So yeah. So there's actually some apps that you'd have to download and integrate your information on it, so that you can tie into the different streaming platforms. So it's pretty new. It's pretty.
Well, hang on a second. So are you showing up as a commercial on the side, on the banner, or do you get a channel? Do you get to talk?
Well, it's really, you show up as a commercial. So it's not really a channel, but you show up as a commercial in the streaming. So it's in a sense, it's really like ads on TV, basically.
Yeah, it's a commercial.
Exactly. Yeah. It's commercial, but it's commercial with that commercial that is highly AI focused. Because what it does, it will pull. Say your potential clients, they watch a specific show, right? That will be a part of your net per se, and you can put yourself before them with specific.
So it only shows during that program.
Exactly, right. Or through because you're still target. You're still target. You'll still pick your target and how you want to show.
So there's that scary thing, right? That someone's figured out you like to watch that show at that time of night, and therefore you are now a target for this marketing. Which for you, for the business owner, that's awesome. I mean, you can.
It's awesome. It's awesome because it's another angle to reach the client.
Yeah.
It's another angle to put in your marketing mix. To corner that client, because it's again, OTT is kind of like a warm lead, because you've seen where all this client is moving, right? And you know the type of shows they're watching, you know what they're doing online, and then you can again put more ads before them through streaming. So that again is effective. It's pretty new, but we'll see where it goes. But it's an interesting form.
Yeah, what do you think? What do you think is going to happen there? Do you think it's going to take off, or is it really expensive, or what's the deal?
I think, to be honest, you find it's a new product, so it's expensive at start, right? Because obviously any type of advertising through TV, it's pretty pricey at this point, or
right.
Streaming.
How does it compare to, like, it's cheaper than a network ad, right?
It's a little bit. It's cheaper than a network ad. But again, it's still a little bit more pricey versus say Google Ads or obviously a Facebook Ads. It's pretty cheap. But I think it's the future. It's the future because streaming is the way to go. Most people are cutting their cable, right? Most people are I cut my cable. I know you must have cut yours.
We did, yeah.
Right? So streaming and look at Disney Plus. Disney Plus just came on the other day, and they're eating up the market, right? They capture a huge percentage. They're doing really well. Because remember, it was all about Netflix and then even YouTube TV. I use YouTube TV.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty.
Who doesn't go to YouTube? I mean, if you need something, if you need to do something, you go to YouTube and find a video on how to do it. I mean, it's just
exactly
it's amazing, actually.
It's amazing, and streaming is where and what you find out is most companies, well, a bunch of companies, they are moving towards investing in streaming platforms, right? Because it's just for perfect example. DirecTV. They completely revamped their DirecTV program now. They're now DirecTV Now. That's the streaming option.
Oh,
I'm not sure if you check it out.
I didn't know that because I
DirecTV Now. That's they're putting a bunch of focus in their streaming now because they have lost a lot of customers. Who they just cut the card and not into the satellite stuff and having that dish and all that anymore. They can just stream to DirecTV Now, right? So a lot of companies are moving that direction because it's new and streaming is the way to go, and there's a lot of business to be had. So
yeah, that's going to have to. I think it's going to be big. I mean, it just makes sense. It'll start with the giant companies that can afford it now.
Right.
I'm pretty sure it'll stick because streaming is going to be.
It's just something. Obviously, again, if you're putting together a digital marketing strategy, you want to look at your options, right? That's why it's important you speak with a professional. You speak with someone who has done it before.
Who's doing it full time? You want somebody who's doing it full time,
exactly,
for sure.
Exactly.
I mean, you could do this 80 hours a week and not know everything there is to know.
Exactly. Yeah. You're so right. So
what's Chatbots? Tell people what Chatbots is.
Chatbot.
Oh, bot. Sorry, Chatbot. Sorry.
Right.
So, my mind is a box.
Well, it's. I mean, most businesses they're using it now because it goes back to what we've been talking about customers' attention span. When your customer lands on a site, you want them to get help. So I know you've been to a site and you see those little pop up. Hey, Anne Marie, how can I help? Hi. So that's a chatbot, right? So it's a system that you integrate in your website so that when someone lands on it, you can speak with them, and that message will come back to you, and then you can respond to the queries. Because
sometimes they're live, sometimes they're not, right?
Yes, sometimes you're live and sometimes you're not. Like the bigger companies, they could employ people to stay, to be there.
Oh yeah, I have that on my online scheduling software, and they're live. They answer my question right away.
Right away.
But I get it. I get that I get that it's there because if someone scrolls down the page and they're about to leave and it pops up because they have a question and they couldn't directly find the answer right away, that's a great tool because it'll grab them and say, "Oh, honey, what's your question?"
It will grab them. And so what the chatbot does, when you're setting it up, you'd have to feed in a bunch of common questions.
Yeah, the FAQs, right?
Like price or comment, so that then the bot can dynamically answer those questions without someone there being live, right? It's just a bot. You're talking to a bot.
Right.
You're basically talking to a bot. But at the end of the day, it ties back into customer experience. Cornering the customer, ensuring that the customer gets what they're looking for, and so you could keep that customer. So I would recommend, if you're listening or you're watching, I would recommend if you have a website, add a chatbot there. So I mean, you give a little better experience. The only drawback, and I must put this out there, with a chatbot, you will get, a lot of, information from bots, or from, from just, people. They're not real people, will send you messages through, so bot.
What are you saying?
Exactly.
They're gonna follow you around?
Not follow you around, but send you messages where it's not legit. So you gotta,
Okay.
but at the end
It's
of the
like a
day,
spam thing.
it's like a spam thing. Yeah. There, but with online marketing, there's always gonna be spam, right?
Yeah. So I have a quick question then. Does that work on mobile? The chat bot, does it work on a mobile
Yes,
phone?
it does.
They do. Okay.
It does.
That's another thing. People have to realize that the phone is huge for marketing, right? I mean, that's where everybody goes now.
Of course. We're always on our phone. We're always on our phone. And even if you're running a campaign, your mobile strategy has to be on par, because as we mentioned, people they have limited time span. They're always on the go, and they always have their phones in their hand. So if you have a website where it's not mobile friendly, and I'm like, potential client looking for your product, I'm like, oh, I can't see Anne Marie's head. I can't see the product. What's happening?
That's important, right? It has to be mobile friendly, which means it look good on the screen. Does your strategy change much for the phone, or is it more about the appearance and how things are feeding through? Does the rest of your strategy change? Because I know in Facebook, don't you target phone users, like mobile phone users in Facebook?
Of course. So our strategy is always from the outset. We know the data is there. Mobile is king. You're gonna get more mobile users than on desktop and tablet, majority of the time.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter when, majority of the time. So from early on, you have to, if you're setting up a website, it has to be mobile friendly. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
If you're doing targeting on Facebook, you have to have some sort of leaning towards mobile targeting. You have to. So it's a key ingredient into any digital marketing strategy, because again, we're always on our phones.
Yeah. Gosh, Andre, the time just flew by. I know we're going to have to end in a minute or two. Do you want to tell people maybe why you wrote this book? Because this book is awesome. It's like you could hand this to your social media director and say, here, just go do this. Your marketing, digital marketing, they could do it. Why did you write the book?
Exactly. And that's the main reason, Anne Marie, because, going out, talking with different business owners, there's certain things, basics that they just don't understand. They just don't understand. And I know that, sometimes when you talk to people about digital marketing, it seems like a little fuzzy. It seems like, SEO.
I think people think about Facebook, or
Facebook,
biggest names, and that's as far as they go.
Facebook,
not really.
Or no, I want to do one better. I mean, you ask someone if they have a website. Oh, I have a Facebook page. I have a Facebook page, right? SEO. Yeah, I've been hearing about this SEO. What is this? What is this SEO thing? So the book it's a simplified explanation of digital marketing terms, or some of the key strategies that you should employ for your
It's sort of the universe, really. It's a universe in a book.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think too, we've just come out of a pandemic, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be another one. So it's really important that when people are stuck at home for whatever reason, your business is still viable. And I think that's really important going forward, that you've got to be digital, and it's got to be good. Like, it's got to be meaningful and
strategic,
well thought out, and, strategic, more than ever before, because that's where we're all going to be, right? I mean, that's what all the numbers say. You're the numbers guy.
Exactly. We're not going back to the phone book.
No,
we're not going back. We're not going back to those big filing cabinets.
Yeah. Oh, I remember. And I was thinking too about all this stuff we used to do for ads on paper. We used to have, magazines and newspapers and direct mail and flyers and brochures and cards and postcards. And, you know, it was just so much, which now we still have all those in a way, but it's all digital now. It's all digital. And the nice thing, I think, is that, say you had an ad in a little magazine that they handed out at the opera, and you were selling champagne, and you sold French champagne, only French champagne. Well, everybody got the little book when they sat down to the show, but you had to cross your fingers and hope that in that audience, the 0.1% of the people who wanted to buy not just champagne, not just alcohol, but champagne, and not just champagne, but French champagne, saw your ad, right? That was your campaign. Right. And now you can send them a note on the sidebar of something they're already looking at online. Bam, there's your French champagne, you know, press the button here. Yep. So I mean, that's the beauty of the whole thing, I think.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. And one of the key things is personalization. I mean, now you can be so intimate with your customers and by understanding their preferences and their tastes a bit more, so that you can even
and that's the flip side of the, you know, being followed, that kind of thing. I mean, the flip side is that you can provide, it's almost like providing a service for somebody. It is helpful. Sometimes something pops up on my screen. I wouldn't have seen that before. And oh my gosh, you know, that does look interesting. So I can, even though I joke about it a little bit, I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it at the end of the day. So
it is wonderful. That's why I love digital marketing. It's just fascinating to take a client from, you know, nothing to, you know, the client is talking about expansion plans. You're like, whoa.
That's great. That's great.
That's just awesome. It's a level of joy and fulfillment. It was, you know, something like that, you know, you just live for it.
Well, thank you, Andre. I found this fascinating. I've got more questions, and if anybody has questions, they can send them to us. We'll do more. There's so much in this book to talk about that we could do another one of these. No problem, right?
No, of course. And if you're watching, you can always go to yourcompanyhealth.com. To learn more about me, you can go to andrewright.com, and you'll see all my information about the book and all that. And then I know, Anne Marie, you can give your information. And know.
I'm at Core Matters, ourcorematters.com. Yeah, but they should go get this book, is what they should do.
Yeah, and it's on Amazon. You just, I mean, if you go on Andre E. Wright, you could just, or my main website, therightconsult.com, you'll see somewhere about Vsibility, and you could just click through the links and you'll go straight to Amazon and you could purchase it there, and then, you know, that would be awesome. And write me a review.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Write a review. That's part of a digital marketing campaign, right?
Yep, it is.
Exactly. It is. So, yeah, see, we do the gems just keep coming. So we're going to do this again.
Part 2.
Part 2. All right. So thanks, Andre. It was fun.
And all right. Appreciate it. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.